Coming to frame. Hello everyone, it is time for the weekly video. I wasn't sure that I would do a weekly video this week because my voice has been going a bit weird lately, but maybe that's just the way my voice is nowadays. There was that, and also I forgot that I got any post. I did get some posts. I received this release from Indicator, Cold Eyes of Fear. Once again, this is a film that is completely new to me. So once again, I will aim to watch this within a decade. But Enzo G. Castellari is a filmmaker that I've seen other films from and enjoyed. This is a 1971 giallo from him, apparently. So I will look forward to trying to make time for that when I can. The other thing that prompted me to try and get this video made is I made a comment today on social media saying I don't think I'll ever forgive the horror community for enabling the makers of the In Search of Darkness documentaries to do what they did. Like 15, 16, 17, 18 hours, whatever, about horror movies, and no real additional insight, no great context, a number of celebrities that they managed to get time with, and then a lot of talking heads from podcasters, bloggers, people who have edited magazines and online zines. It's not good. I get that they were going for the atmosphere of spending time in the company of friends and all chatting about horror, but some of the movies crop up and it's 30 seconds about them and then they're gone. There's just no need. I've mentioned this before though. I've certainly mentioned this on a YouTube video before because I've encouraged people to sort of demand or remember that they deserve better. These documentaries are ones I've singled out for the reasons I just mentioned. Nothing personal against the people that they got involved, and obviously it's nice to be reminded of some horror movie titles you might have forgotten. There might be one or two in there that you didn't know of before. It's if you are of that generation and have enjoyed a lot of horror movie output, that's very unlikely, but there's a chance. So it's not as if they're a complete waste of time. It's just that they're a real squandered opportunity, and fans have let this go. Fans have sort of encouraged this and gone with this because because we'll lap this stuff up. It's a load of nostalgia pressing, and that's all it is. Memories of the video shop when you got to browse on a Friday or Saturday night and maybe pick your own, and you might have been sent up the road with the video card and it was a local store and they didn't care what you rented because they knew your parents or your family or they knew you, so just like, yeah, take what you want. This happened to me on the nights where my mum was getting ready to go out for a date night, so I picked up The Golden Child and Return of the Living Dead. I can't remember what age I was, but watching Return of the Living Dead wasn't the comedy fest it is now. By the time Tarman came out and went, brains, I put The Golden Child on again just to watch immediately, and then never got to see the end of Return of the Living Dead until years later. But I digress. Those are the kind of conversations you can have with friends though. Those are the kind of memories that many people will have from that generation. In many ways, the VHS generation, I was, I remember being kind of asleep, but also half pretend asleep when my family had extended family round and they gathered round to watch Creepshow because it was a top loader VCR. They had the tape and they were watching Creepshow. Yeah, that was a traumatic moment in my life. Explains a lot. Again, I can't remember what age I was, but I was young. It was when Creepshow was a new VHS rental hit. Dawn of the Dead, same thing. I was allowed up late to watch that. Absolutely terrified. That the intensity of I think the main sequence that scared me most was the zombie at the back of the mall in amongst all the machinery, where it might be Flyboy going about checking the machinery. All these things. An American Werewolf in London, saving my pocket money to spend $4.99 on the forefront edition of Stir Crazy because it was one of the best films ever. Still a great comedy. You should have these conversations with people. You should find your people that you have these conversations with, be it on YouTube, be it on, you know, other social media. That is the upside of social media. And it's the upside of being part of a community that is made up of people who will have come to that community at different times. So there will be young horror fans that don't know that stuff, but they've got a lot of classics to look forward to, and they've got, you know, a hell of a journey ahead of them, and you can maybe give some pointers or recommendations. You've got older horror fans who have more cherished memories of making sure they travelled far and wide to a cinema showing a certain film, because who knew when it would be on? It was before the VHS boom. It was unlikely to be shown on TV. And then you've got people like me in that middle group, and that's where all the nostalgia is being sold. And that's my problem. It's being sold. It's being sold to you. It's being sold to us. It's being packaged and sold, and we still lap it up. But it's, when it's done in such a way as those documentaries, it feels like it's being sold in a really superficial and soulless way. And we all deserve better than that. I can see on my shelf now, I've got volume 1 and 2 of the Video Nasties documentaries by, I want to say Jake West, but I could be wrong. Like, they're great. And someone might look at these things side by side and say, well, there's no difference between the nostalgia of the In Search of Darkness documentaries and the nostalgia of the Video Nasties documentaries. There's a hell of a difference. There's a lot of context in the Video Nasties documentaries. There's a lot of, you know, there are a lot of anecdotes, but they build this picture of a time that was both, you know, a joyous one for film fans and a dangerous one for some film collectors, and that danger and thrill added to the enjoyment for a lot of people as well. It has that, and it goes through just so much more than these other documentaries. Now, I'm only about an hour into In Search of Darkness 3 because I put it off for too long. I thought, oh, finally, I have to do it. The completist in me, my compulsive mindset, means I have to do it. So I will be watching that on Shudder. I think they did an In Search of Sci-Fi. They've done an In Search of Action. I've heard bad things about their crowdfunding campaign, that at least 1 or 2 people said there was disappointment and a few mistakes made along the way. Well, I can't guarantee that I won't end up sitting through those as well, especially if they end up on Shudder or on Netflix or some other streaming service. But I'll hate myself while I'm doing it, but it's okay because I'll project onto them and hate the makers of the documentaries, because it's rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish, and we all deserve better. And again, I was just driven to say this today. I'm really sorry if people think I'm repeating myself. I think I've put a slightly different slant on it from last time. There are some possibly interesting documentaries coming up. I think somewhere on Shudder, or maybe Arrow, have the Orchestrator of Storms, the Jean Rollin documentary, somewhere on there. I think, I could be wrong though, but that'll be worth checking out. There's an upcoming, is it Summer of Sharks documentary? Or maybe I'm thinking just of the HD podcast Summer of Sharks that they have every year with Darren and Haley. But there's certainly a documentary coming up about shark films that will have to be at least 6 hours long just to cover everything from the asylum. And I think there's a documentary coming out in the near future about J-horror. Possibly just Japanese ghosts and curses horror, but maybe the whole shebang. So that'll be hopefully worth a watch as well. I always go into these things hoping to, as I'm sure you do as well, hoping to just get some recommendations, hoping to be reminded of things that I've loved but not watched in a while. Hoping to find out one or two things that I didn't know about the time and the sort of the climate of when these movies came out, or what helped to make them a success, or why they were just under the radar but known to film fans, to horror film fans. And I'm going to be looking forward to all of these other documentaries. I would like to live in a world where we don't see another documentary that starts with the words "in search of." That's all I ask. I think if we can work together to make that happen, I think the world would be a better place. Other people will fill that gap that has been left. Other people with perhaps more interesting and potentially more informed viewpoints. As someone said to me today, the first In Search of Darkness was basically a collage of the same, generally speaking, white hetero commentators, and that was also a bad sign for them. Obviously, I would recommend you check out Horror Noir on Shudder as an interesting look at sort of not just, it doesn't really cover blaxploitation, but black horror cinema, and talks to a lot of black actors, actresses, filmmakers about the experience when horror is also, I was going to say filtered through race, but I don't know, just has a different sheen on it because of race. And that's a really interesting documentary. A lot of people with interesting things to say. So yeah, that's a good one. I think that's me done with all my ranting. Yeah, I think that's it. I would just look. All of those documentaries are on Shudder. In Search of Darkness 1, 2, 3. Watch away. Watch them as many times as you like. I would just, hope that you look out for better documentaries. The Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Street documentaries, they're hefty documentaries. They focus on those films and cover some other material tangentially, but they are hefty quality documentaries. There's lots of good horror content out there about the films we love. There's a documentary on Fright Night, there's the Living with Chucky, there's so many good stuff tucked away on the extra features still of discs, and maybe sometimes the iTunes extras or the extras you might get on Amazon or YouTube if you're at a movie. I don't know how those ones work. So there's plenty out there. So don't think that if you stop encouraging the makers of the In Search of documentaries that we won't get content about the films we love. You may find that we get better content about the films we love, and that's a win-win.